Hey, welcome to Live Soaring Profits once again. Welcome to Tuesday, a wonderful, joyous day. I hope you're all out there having a good time, maybe enjoying a little bit of summer sunshine like that one over there beside us. Uh, so today, I was reading some articles about our local stuff, and I'm pretty sure it's probably happening all across Canada, if not the world. But in our little town here, crime has risen. And I remember us talking about what this recession might do for mental health. His dog is running away. That's what's going on back there.
Chasing a
Uh,
bunny.
what this would do for our mental health, what this would do for crime, as people get more and more desperate. So for a little while, if your car was unlocked, they would come, they would take it, they would take the stuff inside, and they would go and they would rifle through your stuff, and they'd take a few things, and it would hurt you, but it wouldn't hurt you that bad. But now what they're doing is they're literally going up to like golf courses and different places in the city, and they're smashing a window and then going in and stealing wallets and keys and all sorts of things because they're becoming more and more desperate. We've had 3 shootings in the last week, I believe. Stabbing.
Three in the last month, but
Yeah.
we've had two good ones in the last week, and
Yeah.
there's been a couple stabbings as well. It's been insane.
Yeah. And it's all surrounding. I feel the lower economy, the less money available. Like if you think about me, I am one of those guys that give money to homeless people. I do it all the time. But as time, my life gets a little bit tighter and tighter. It's harder and harder to give out your extra money.
Yeah.
So then those people no longer have that kind of source of income, because it is a source of income for them. And less people are coming to our city because of tourism, because they have no money. So that's also a drain on their financial kind of business. They're becoming more and more desperate, and we're just seeing that now, and it's kind of scary. Like we have to start doing more to police that in some way,
Right.
whether it's more mental health protections, or it's more police on our streets. I know, like, because for a long time they were saying lock your doors, lock your doors, lock your doors. Now they're saying don't even have anything in your car. Like have nothing in your car. Like imagine that. I used to go to theme parks and stuff like that, and I purposely leave my wallet and my keys and my money in the car because it was protected. But now it's not, because they're so like, could you imagine walking? Like I think it's happening during the day, like when people are there. It's not, and they're smashing car window and they're getting away with it. That's wild to me.
Well, so we've become a bit of a society of a pacifist nature, where we used to talk, and we've talked about this on here a pretty large number, is that if we saw somebody downtown that was in a state, right, was homeless looking, meandering around into the street, you'd stop, pull over, stop your car, call a police officer. They'd arrive in the next 2 or 3 minutes, and someone would come and deal with that individual.
That's right.
And now we drive by.
Yeah.
Like we just wholeheartedly avoid that problem. Somebody else will fix it and go from there. But what that's created is I think that it's created a brazenness, whether within the mental health, whether it be based on criminality, whether it be a number of different things. It's created a brazenness. And I know myself, I was raised, my father was kind of a no bullshit type of guy. We used to have kids every once in a while that would jump over the fence and go swimming in our in-ground pool as a kid.
You're right.
Well, I've never seen a man jump and run as fast as that motherfucker when those guys were in our backyard.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about them swimming. It was a sense of being robbed or stolen from.
Right.
And it was not okay. And as a society, we've said, no, those people, they need it more than us. So it's just a thing, right? It's just an object. It's just a thing. But there was a whole generation of guys that jumped out of boats in Normandy and stormed the beaches so that their things wouldn't be moved, wouldn't be touched, wouldn't be displaced.
Yeah.
And there's something about, some folks call it toxic masculinity. There's something to be said for the attitude of, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with mine. And I am a little bit of that kind of old school nature, where if I found myself in a situation, I think that I would act certainly different. Now I know, like for instance, where I am, I'm in a lovely community. It's a nice spot. We don't have too much in the way of transiency, which is kind of nice. But I own rental properties in places that do, and I couldn't even imagine putting my kids to bed at night worrying about who, what, where, when, and why is coming through. But you're absolutely right. We have touched on this. We have touched on the dynamics that are coming down the pipe when it comes to economic recession and trends. And if we don't end up making some hard decisions, and this is at every level, this is at the police level, this is at the judicial level, this is at the municipal and governmental, provincial and federal governmental levels. If we don't end up making some decisions hard now, you think gun control is a problem?
Yeah. Well, you're totally, like, you and I talked about this before, probably like 6 months ago, 7 months ago, we would see, and I feel bad because they obviously suffer from mental health and they need help. But there would be situations where there'd be a homeless person smashing, like banging on a business window, and no one would do anything. A cop would not come, and we would see them like going down the street doing this over and over again, and there was no limitations to it. And when there's no limitations, that line just moves back, and you do more, and you do more. Well, I'm not going to get any trouble for this, then I'll do this. I'm not going to get.
What did you do as a child?
This. I'm going to do this, right? And so I had a situation the other day, and it's a well-known woman in the area that doesn't wear many clothes because she's a lady of the evening.
That is the most romantic way you could ever say that.
A lady of the evening who, unfortunately, I would assume suffers from mental health because she is always under some sort of influence of some drug. And I was waiting for my son one of the times that we were going to go do something, and she was weaving up the road to such an extent that I was worried for her, like I was worried that there was something wrong with her. But I was also like, every other time I would have done something. But in this particular case, I didn't because of the way things are changing. But because I don't know if she has a knife. I don't know if she has a gun. Like things are changing. People are becoming more desperate. People are becoming more violent. So now that's like before I would be the first one. You've seen me do it where a man's agitated in the community, and I'll go up and I'll kind of try and talk them down. But now that I have to worry about my children being with me and may possibly get hurt or myself get hurt, I got to pull back from that. So I think that's more why people are doing less, because I'm a man of action. I do things when other people don't. People don't. But there's a limit, I'm not a police officer. I'm just a caring guy. And if you're putting knives and guns into the equation, like I can deal with fists all day. No problem. I can do that. I've been trained to do it. Not a problem. But you put a knife or a gun in the equation, I don't want anything to do with that. And now that it's happening, people are so desperate right now, and they're only going to get more desperate if we don't start doing something. If we don't start holding people more accountable and start doing those things where we have programs that help people with mental health. We have to start doing those things. I know you don't agree, but we have to start doing those things so we can catch them. Like if we could catch them and give them help, get them off the street, help them with whatever they need, give them someone to talk to, medication, whatever that's needed, then we wouldn't have these repeat things. Because literally I see things like that all the time where it happens. And if the police do get involved, they just talk to them and then leave. Because I think even the police right now are a little afraid of doing anything because they've been kind of told that, they're a hammer.
What is the number one underlying issue that you're seeing in this community right now?
In this community, I would say poverty. Poverty is really, we're starting to notice a greater deal of poverty. There are more people sleeping in our bus shelters. There's more people on our streets. There's more people that are suffering from drug addiction. And drug addiction is really taking a toll on our children, on the transient people. It's widespread where we are.
So poverty, addiction, and transiency were the three things that I heard out of that conversation. Yeah. Right. So as a police community, right, there's only kind of two of those things that you can address. The transiency you can be addressing, and the drug addictions, right? The drugs that are coming into your community, you get to handle that. That's your gig, right?
Yeah.
The other stuff is a much more societal problem, and you can address those 1,000 ways to Sunday. Probably should be best addressed on Sunday, in fact, but I'll leave that for the rest of you. But as that policing community, you only get to address two of those things.
Right.
So we have a situation right now through the judicial process in Ontario, where we have more or less a catch and release process.
That's right.
in our drug courts. It's not working. It's not efficient. It's not effective. But you can't legalize marijuana and you can't legalize these other substances without having a lackadaisical judicial process in play, so that you have the leeway to do that. And that's where I think we're ending up here in Canada right now. So you have the marijuana legalization of 2014, 2015. Then you have what I think is coming down the pipe next with your mushrooms and psilocybin processes and products. Then what's next, right? We're seeing out west, the heroin quantities being lowered. All of these things are legalization. And this is all stuff that 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, all of it was illegal. They were vices, prostitution, drugs, gambling. Gambling's one of our biggest employers in this country, right? It's not unreasonable to think that these vices are coming down the pipe and are going to be a major part of our economy in the near future. So what do you do? How does that work? What does that look like, right? So what I'm concerned about right now is that in a community like ours, where we're seeing the addictions, the police have to step up. And if they're not going to, there's going to be hell to pay. And that's where citizens need to start taking a little bit of proactive action. I'm not saying going out and beating people up. I'm saying you need to be in touch with the police. You need to be making those calls. You need to be saying, hey, this is not appropriate. I don't want this in my neighborhood. The problem is that societally, nobody wants to be the nosy, naughty neighbor.
The Karen. Yeah. And we've lost sight of when it's good to be a Karen and when it's bad to be a Karen.
Right.
If someone's just having a barbecue in a parking lot, don't call. If a kid threw a rock and broke your window, you just deal with that. You don't make a phone call. But if you see someone lying face down on the sidewalk, that's the time to make a call. Or if they're banging on someone's window or they're getting upset, stop picking up your freaking camera and start picking up your phone to make a call to get some help. Like, I'm so tired of all these people think it's hilarious to watch the mental health person who's suffering, who's throwing a Burger King Whopper and like knocking over straws because they're having a mental breakdown, and everyone on the comments thinks it's hilarious. Why is someone not phoning and getting some help for that person? You guys are all saying that we should help each other out. You're all saying that, all these taglines and these wonderful things, yet you're spending all that time promoting the fact that it's funny that this mental health person is having a breakdown. And then if I looked at later on in your social media, it'll say hashtag mental health or let's talk Mel, but meanwhile you're filming, or maybe you're not filming, but if you share that video, you're still just doing as much damage as if you created that video. Instead of filming, instead of picking up the camera, stop that. Start making that call. Start calling 911 and going, hey, there's someone here really upset. I'm not sure why, but they need some help.
Right.
And then get out of that situation.
I couldn't agree with you more, pal. And I think that's the unfortunate problem is that we, in society, we are not great on taking on that social responsibility like a generation ahead of us. Yeah. And I think that's something that especially as things get worse, if we're not willing to do, we're going to be in a big problem.
Yeah.
Right? We have to be able to depend on each other as a society. The problem is how we do this. And in our last podcast earlier yesterday,
still have a bit of a cold, do we?
It's the vid, man. Hang on. Anyways, So we talked yesterday about what it means to deal with those processes and to work together, and that the liberal and conservative viewpoint are very, at the end of the day, fairly similar. It's how we get there, right? And I think, and dark. I think that if as things get worse, we're going to have to be able to diversify our points of view and being able to help people. It's just how we do that. I'm a big give opportunities for people to pull themselves up, whereas
I'm a big let's use the government's the money that I'm giving the government to help out. Let's start social programs where we're not catch and releasing mental people. Like, people literally on our streets are picked up because they're in crisis. They're taken to the hospital. They're held for 24 hours, and then they're released with no, they're told to go see a counselor, but they have no resources to get a counselor. There's no way they can do it.
So what if you take the government out of it? Because, as of COVID and inflation and all these things, government sucks at shit. I think we've proven that one through this little run, right? Like, if you can still step back and be like, hey, I think the government does things really, really well. They really do,
they
well
do
thought out.
Some things well.
Negative.
No, but I really think that's the way we should approach it. And I think we should start maybe training our police officers better, but we should start backing our police officers a little bit more and stop always, there's a lot of good police officers. I've met them, I've dealt with them, and especially in our community. I can't talk for everyone's community, but some of them are a little gun shy. Pardon the expression, that's probably not a good one, but when every time you walk in the community, you're everyone's watching your every move, waiting with the camera so you can make a mistake so they can get it, and that's what's going on out there. They can't wait to get the camera up.
Yeah.
So that
100%.
30 seconds of fame. Whereas this is a serious situation that this police officer is dealing with. Not only is he trying to keep the person that he's dealing with safe, he's trying to keep you safe. And you don't get that. You're multiplying it by 100 when the police officer can't just pay attention to the person in front of them.
Absolutely. I can speak firsthand dealing with situations like that. You end up and you're down and you're in a compromised position, and somebody that comes up to say, hey, can I help you? And you're like, back up.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa, easy, man. It's like, we're good. I just don't know who you are.
That's right.
I don't know if you're a bad hombre. I don't know what your deal is. So you get the hell away from me, and then we'll have a conversation in a second. I got this. Or if I'm in trouble, I will call you. I will address you. You will know if I have a problem.
Right.
But it's a wild scenario. And I think that, like you said, the first initial reaction to jump up with the camera in people's faces is so off-putting. I've had situations where you're dealing with something, and then all of a sudden somebody jumps in and they got a camera, and you're just like, you just lost all credibility to me.
Yeah.
If you have just a general conversation on adios muchacho, it was nice to know you. It's not that I was going to say anything different than I would necessarily on camera. You guys tune in to hear what I want to say.
Yeah.
But it just done. I'm done.
Yeah. No, because there's no need for it. We don't need to see every little detail of everyone's little life. You want to have a podcast? Hop on, have a podcast.
Right.
We're doing it. I have an opinion that I want people to hear. I come on here and I give it. My opinion. I don't need to film other people. I don't need to ridicule other people. I don't need to bring other people down. I'm about building people up. You know that. I want to build everybody up. And those videos that you people are doing of people who are suffering with mental health, and they're having a moment of probably one of the worst times of their life, and now they got to watch themselves on the YouTube over and over again and read all the comments about how they're batshit crazy. And you think that's helping mental health? You think hashtag bell movement is happening? Let's talk about mental health. Well, meanwhile, you're making fun of someone who is really upset, and to them, that moment with the burger, whatever it is very real to them, and you don't understand that because you don't understand mental health, even though you pretend to. It makes me angry. Sorry.
I can feel that. I was gonna throw in a joke there and be like, well, how did it make you feel? Tell me about it. But now I feel kind of like a bad guy making fun of how vitriol you got with that.
It just makes me really angry when I see stuff like that. When I see people who are on their orange crate during Bell Media time, when it's time to say, let's put a picture up behind my head that says I Bell Talk, and on the same Facebook page, there's like some poor woman who's upset because of their Whopper, and I don't know why, suffering from mental health. Those don't relate at all.
You get a Whopper when you've asked for no onion and they put onion on it.
Oh.
There's nothing worse.
You got some thunder going on behind you. That's pretty cool.
Can you see that? Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah. The bird. The
bird. See,
yeah.
on site right now. On site, he's risking his life for you. So the least you can do is like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to see him get struck by lightning, we'll leave him out there. We'll get him a bar or something. You let us know.
You got to join the Patreon for that one.
That's right.
Patreon gets struck by lightning.
You got to pay for that. That's a little extra cost to see a conservative struck by lightning. I'm pretty sure we could raise some money. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys can see here right now. So I've got a tree in my backyard, this big guy here.
Oh, yeah.
That the last big storm that we had, got the thunder roll. Really, can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really almost did it in. And it's about 60 feet.
Yeah. Oh, it's either coming down on your house or someone else's. When it falls, it's going to fall between a house.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one. Yeah. So that's what we've kind of been concerned about, is what that looks like. And my backyard here. Hey, would you?
And why haven't you cut it down?
Well, to be honest with you, it was COVID. I've got a couple buddies that we're going to swing by and do it. I've got another tree that I actually have Hydro One swinging by and taking care of. Well, they called me on Friday, then they called me again today. And I don't know if anyone's ever dealt with them as far as like proactive pruning of trees and that sort of thing. But they're not easy to deal with. And I was kind of able to talk them into taking the entirety of the tree down, the first guy. Then they called again, and it was a young lady out of the Halton area. And she's like, well, we don't usually take down trees. Like, we'll never kill something like that, right? And I'm like, it's literally a shrub that has just turned into a monster. Like, it just needs to go. She's like, well, we'll do a very good job of cutting it back. And I'm like, cutting it back? So that's how it's been left. So they're going to come 3 weeks is what they figured for the tree to come.
Yeah. Well, because right now they're still dealing with that major storm, whether it was a tornado or whatever they called it, that hit Peterborough, and it knocked out all their power and it took down trees everywhere. They're still like just dealing with that. Like, they have temporary lines that they still have to fix. Yeah. All over the city. Yeah. So it's going to be
well, I was a couple fences. I just got the one fence fixed.
That's right.
Another one, just a couple of chain links at some rentals that I have. But again, those were all, you couldn't get labor. Like, the guy who wanted to
foundation.
Sorry?
You also your foundation in one of your properties.
Yeah, did one of those as well. We just had so much rainfall, right? And so we did that as well. Same guy, did a great job. Highly recommend. Mike? Job, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, I should probably go. Either that or I'm going to end up very wet or dead.
Yeah, so I'm just keep on the conversation going in hopes that you would just not notice and I could watch this happen because it would be fun.
Yeah. Did it get go viral?
It would go viral, maybe.
Yeah.
Live storm. Yeah, so like, subscribe, share. Pat is literally risking his life right now to give you this great content. So ring that bell. Please tell your friends about us. I got a keto journey that's all coming out. Day 0 is out today. Day 1's out. And there's all sorts of content that Pat does about money. So get it there, like, share, subscribe. We are Soaring Profits, and I want to heal your minds, bodies, and souls.
And as always, folks, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys coming by here. Sorry that we had to leave a little bit early today, but I figured that pursuit of life and property at this point, I'll take. I know that it doesn't look like super dark, but it's super, super dark. Like where I am, I got the light set up here out back, but it is super, super dark when you kind of go around the corner here, which is a little bit scary. But as always, folks, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to check out a few other things here over the next couple of days, get some more content out to you. Thursday night, 9 o'clock. You're going to have to check us out. We got a lovely young lady who's coming on there about first-time home buyers. Next week, we have a pediatric RN talking about some of the healthcare crises that are going on in this country. We got a ton of people. Just you got. I gotta get in.
I was just talking to Mike today from Finding Fish. He was on a couple of, so he's heading to Cuba this week, and he's going to come back probably end of August though, because he's going on a long trip, and he's going to have a lot of great content to share with us. A lot of good talk about what he's done in Cuba and stuff like that. So that's going to be exciting too.
So when is that? When is he?
So he's leaving this weekend, I think, with his lovely wife, and he's back. He said probably the end of August. By the time he like comes back and he does, like, he's going to be seeing family and stuff, and then he'll have time for us.
I guess we'll accept
that. Yeah.
Seeing your children. Well, folks, as always, I can feel it in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make some money together. Thank you for joining us. Like, subscribe, and share, and we will chat again with you real soon, guys.